quite friendly in the face-to-face, but maybe not as friendly on the pitch. Flame and K-Dop talking at each other, talking with each other before the match. And I gotta say, while the desk might be heavy on Vitality, I think they might be sleeping on Top Blokes a little bit, Cole.
Yeah, I mean, based on what we saw from Top Blokes against Guild a couple of days ago, this is the Top Blokes that made it to this stage of the tournament. They were in the top 3 pretty much from beginning to end, maybe even from that very first regional in which they reached the final. And now they're here. I don't think there's any reason they can't beat Vitality. I think Vitality will peg it, but this is definitely going to be close.
I mean, they're meeting in the middle in this series, in this entire set, where Top Blokes started a little bit lower and then went to an astronomical high when they played previously. This will be Vitality's first showing in this championships, but they are very much on their way, sort of plateauing to a level. I think this is definitely going to be more NRG G2 than it will be BDS versus Queso.
Well, that's got some expectations behind it, but I certainly think closer to that is what you might get. And while the expectation for Vitality is very high, you know, over the course of the last 3 months, or really the last 2 splits, they haven't been that same force that a lot of people expected them to be coming out of the fall split. Instead, they've played a lot more like Team Queso with their inconsistency. They're about a 500 record overall between winter and spring, and they don't have a lot of solid results and solid placements to say that they're the clear and away number 2 team in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, the spring started okay for them. They came second to, of course, Team BDS. But after that, it was 9th, 12th, then 9th, 12th again, and then slightly better in the major. It was 5th to 8th. But for a team like Vitality with so much history, they want so much more. And they might have more here from the off. It's Fairy Peak with the first goal.
That's such a good bump from Alpha in the net as well. Clearing him out after that touch. Sees Archie waiting, removes him from the play. Cannot even attempt to get there before Alpha completely eclipses the ball. Fantastic shot in the end. And Vitality taking that early lead. And that's going to be good for them as well, because Vitality is certainly a team that are going to know that they have got pitfalls, know that they have had issues previously, but ultimately are one of the best teams in Europe. We always put them down, but they are number 2, only behind BDS, and they've got the winning record versus Top Blokes as well. They have had a lot of dominance versus those guys, but I do not think that we can put Top Blokes down compared to how they showed versus Guild.
But I mean, what worries me about Team Vitality with regards to expecting Top Blokes to come out here and do well is that they have multiple different play styles. Jorby, you mentioned their inconsistency. You said they were Queso-esque. To me, it's not because they sometimes play well and sometimes play poorly. Team Vitality are always working. They're always thinking, trying to figure out how do we get back to being that number 1 team in EU, if not the world. And that's led to multiple play styles. They have some games where you might have 8 or 9 goals in it. Everything just goes a bit silly. They're giving away freebies. Ooh. Then they can also play very tightly. So many different faces to this Vitality.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, like this Top Blokes team this week has been in a bit of a different form than they have in, other regionals, other tournaments. The thing that does kind of hurt them, I would say, is that they need to be performing as a unit consistently to beat Vitality. I think Vitality could get away with a couple of miscues, where Top Blokes, they have to be much more consistent, and I think that's the detriment that you have playing against Vitality.
I'd say also that saying the Top Blokes are playing differently to how they've played in other regionals is maybe the biggest understatement I have ever heard on this stream.
Give it to me, that stumping.
They look unbelievable yesterday. I'm scared for Vitality here. That winning record, it doesn't mean much when it comes down to the final day, because Top Blokes aren't the team they have been when Vitality has beaten them previously. But it all comes down to how they perform throughout this set. Experience-wise, Vitality have it. But current gameplay-wise, unless Vitality pull out something absolutely astronomical, Top Blokes to me are the team to beat.
Well, there's been a lot of back and forth, but not a lot of threats on either side of the pitch. We've seen a couple of close redirects, but nothing that's really threatening the net. Top Blokes have done a great job keeping Vitality locked out, but they haven't done enough on offense to really force Vitality to stretch on defense. Nice passing play to get it back downfield, and Archie quickly jumping up, but can only force the challenge against K-Dot.
I mean, I've been impressed so far with the player who just hit that ball in the air in Flame. He is involved a lot. He's made 4 saves so far and had a couple of decent looks at the net with a few shots. Never really looked like scoring, but getting involved. Vitality, though, when they actually have their chances, they really seem like they're at the races with their finishing. Top Blokes look a little bit weary on defense with Vitality coming forwards.
Nice challenge from Fairy Peak. Might give Vitality a chance. He let it go for Alpha. K-Dop forced to bring up the rear, and he'll try to keep that ball close. Give Top Blokes any room on the rebound, but a shot comes anyway off the backboard. They let it fly, and Archie tries to cut it off. First real push for Top Blokes, extended in the orange half, is thrown away by K-Dop.
And those infield passes, they're going to be so big in the Top Blokes arsenal as well, because that's how they've broken down so many teams previously. My only worry for them is that Vitality aren't one to let one trick get past them too often. Maybe Top Blokes will get a couple of games, maybe even stretch it to a series to get the win off those passes, but it's going to be rough to just expect them to win you the set.
Final seconds. Alpha. No clear for him. Cassio opening up space with a demo, but Flames no boost. Pass in front to Archie. He's got to keep it on the ground, and he's got the entire Vitality defense to beat. But Vitality keep it close, but simple for the first game victory.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're going to expect from a set that could be as long as this. Up to 3 best-of-7s in a row. It's hardly going to come out and be explosive from the off. That was tense. That was close between 2 teams. But in the end, it was Vitality that took their chance that they had. The decent finish from Fairy Peak, enough to separate them and Top Blokes.
I think the thing for Top Blokes is they just had no openings. And I know, we were talking about this before the match that, Vitality, once they get a grip on you on defense, they could keep you locked out indefinitely. We saw that on display in game number 1. So Top Blokes have to find a way to generate more space. We did see a couple of passing plays, but they came on attacks where they had very little boost. They couldn't hit the ball with purpose, and on target, they just couldn't really force Vitality to stretch the play on defense. So when they get back onto offense, Top Blokes have to find a way to shake Vitality off the ball. The clears are too solid right now.
And Vitality as well, they know that that's their biggest boon, because Flame was saying in that pre-match interview, in their face-to-face, where they were utterly polite to each other, ultimately.
Too much so.
No, actually, I'd quite like to win this game, K-Dop, I'm sorry. The main point was that Vitality, they have got a very, very strong defense. It's so hard to break through.
And the first goal will go to Vitality. It's Fairy Peak again, this time K-Dop wrapping around and getting the pass out. That's another early goal that Top Blokes have conceded.
Fairy Peak and a new designed Octane as well. He's been in his Fennec for so long, that sort of 70s brown looking Fennec, or indeed the Batmobile he's switched to, but maybe in the month or so they've had off, he's been thinking, maybe this Octane can do well for me. And it started off well for him up to this point, the couple of clean finishes that he's made, so far the only scorer in this series. Now K-Dop's coming forward, gonna put this one into the center. Wow, Alpha and K-Dop combining strangely there, but look how deep Fairy Peak was. So a very disciplined performance from Vitality, and that to me, Stumpy, maybe you'll disagree, is my favorite form of Vitality. I think they do the control better than the Chaos.
The control certainly helps to scare off opponents as well, because it'll wear them down to a point where every attack seems futile. They will sit back in their own half, they'll sit in their own net even sometimes, all 3 of them. It can lead to some problems, but like you say, when they can nail the defense down and not let anything through, especially no convincing shots, then they do become near unbeatable. That Iron Curtain just goes up, and very few Top Blokes or anybody's shots is going to be able to pierce that. But Top Blokes do have a lot of offense on their side as well. Archie is one of the best mechanical players and one of the best offensive players in the entire RLCS. He has had the 2nd highest rating across the RLCS as well. Throughout this entire season, only behind Monkey Moon. So that is the quality that Top Blokes bring.
Archie also has, so far in these championships, the highest individual scoring goal in EU. 1,094 points he got in the Series 1 winner against Guild. So for any statisticians out there, that's interesting. And there he is. As soon as you talk about Archie, he shows you what he can do.
Oh, and that's the thing about Archie. He's got those accolades from this season, and we've certainly seen him pop off. I for one, and this goal is a great start to getting him to start to pop off, because I feel like your Top Blokes, we talked about their struggles all season, and I think that was a part of it. Archie couldn't regain that pop-off potential that he was able to reach several times, like the 1,000 score performance game and like others where we've seen him just take over the pitch mechanically. But he hasn't been able to find consistency in that dominance. Very Peak whipping this one up, getting the bump, creating the play for K-Dop, and he did it. It was good enough. First goal for K-Dop.
That is such a handsome goal as well. It was Fairy Peak getting the one touch into then the bump on Casio, continuing from his initial left wall launch. And with K-Dop being in that position where he can poach goals, that's where he's most confident. Because I think a lot of time we look at K-Dop and expect him to pull off the magnificent plays that Alpha and Fairy are able to do. He should be able to do them, but his bread and butter will be his positioning, where he knows where he has to be at almost every single point in a game, and that will win Vitality matches. And before we look more at this game, on those cameras when they come back, just look at the crowd that is amassed in the Team Vitality headquarters with coaches and people behind the glass and anybody watching, because this is one of those world-class matches, and Alpha again with a Vitality goal.
Yeah, the crowd behind the Vitality players going wild. Look at them. You love to see it.
Wow.
Yeah, as close as we've come to a LAN. Beautiful. And that was a great pass as well. And Alpha 54, good to see him getting involved, Jorby.
Yeah, Alpha getting involved is good to see, but I just want to touch on the crowd aspect again, because I think an aspect of Vitality that we haven't really talked about is their performances when it comes to final days like this. Or, you know, when all bets are off, you've played the whole season, championship form Vitality is not unrivaled in Rocket League. And I think you're witnessing it come alive right here. Is it the crowd energy behind them? Is it that small land feel that they might be getting? Because this is the most offense I've seen out of Vitality, and I don't know how long.
They're giving each other so much space on the pitch. They're not getting in each other's way, which has been a big problem with Vitality when they're struggling. Shogun brought up the fact that in EU, K-Dop very rarely doesn't get to the finals. It hasn't happened since Season 2. Since then, K-Dop won the next 5 from Season 3 to Season 8. Then he came second after that. It is just incredible how consistently he reaches the latter point of his region. But honestly, based on what we've seen so far, it's looking likely again.
It's that mentality that he's got. It's the winner's mentality to keep pushing, even when people have been down on him, when you'd think that maybe it could be a chance to have a look at maybe another player on Vitality or something. But Archie, we spoke about him a little bit earlier on. We'll get back to K-Dop. He's been the star of the show for a very long time. But with new blood like Archie suddenly appearing, faking underneath him, that is just cheeky.
It's 2 times that he's had the space to go for that reset. He's trying to create that space. And we talked about it after game 1. They didn't really have a lot of it. And every time they did, they had nothing in the tank. Archie now picking up both goals for Top Blokes.
I mean, that's what Archie does better than most players in EU. Maybe barring Monkey Moon, finding that little pocket of space. The first touches that he manages to conjure up that just put the ball exactly where his opponents don't want it to be, so he can follow up and just be there, even though it's the opposite side of the pitch. Look how much pressure he can put on. All of that came from his first touch.
And a deep third for Casio. Archie picking up the demo and going to get that clear. He needed that sort of touch. He was out of boost, and Very Peak took the corner and midfield. So this is going to be a strenuous situation for Top Blokes, but look at these 50s. They bought so much time and negated that boost steal completely.
It's a great touch in as well. Attempt from Casio to try and work it over the defender. And Top Blokes are now starting to put on that squeeze. A lot of the theory behind this match has been, will Top Blokes try and wait out Vitality, catch them on the counter-attack? But no, they've been trying to just work out of their own half, and then when they've got the time to go for some pressure, they're making sure that their presence is known, boost is being stolen, chances are being taken, bumps are being made, and Vitality have had more pressure on them in this last minute or so than they've had in the rest of the series.
Oh, it almost counts for nothing though if they counter-attack like that. Just as I was going to say, what Top Blokes really came to the fore by doing was keeping pressure all over the pitch. So we are seeing a return to their early season form in the way they're playing.
Oh, Archie just stretching to get that touch, but it wasn't good enough. Fairy Peak watches it in flame, dives in the way for a save, but it's still Vitality ball. Fairy Peak has been all over it. He's been stealing the boost away, preventing Top Blokes from getting a true breakout, and has been a nuisance for Top Blokes. This last play, a formality. Vitality gonna take the second game in the first set.
They weren't even able to get that final goal either. The crowd goes for a mingle in the back of Vitality's camera, seeing what the other perspectives are doing. It's the confidence from Vitality where they're looking calm. They're looking like they know they're going to win this series. And it would be a big return for Europe if it then turns around to have a Vitality BDS finish to the entire season. But the stats on that screen right now just shows how much Top Blokes pressure was being applied to Vitality. The demos so heavy in Top Blokes' favor, but Vitality holding strong and scoring 4 goals while they were at it.
I mean, their finishing has been flawless so far, Vitality. They had 7 shots and scored from 4 of them, which isn't a bad return at all. All 3 players involved, I said how much they were spacing out. Alpha has managed to get himself 1 goal in these 2 games, and he isn't looking greedy. It's not looking like he doesn't trust K-Dop and Fairy P, which is the big problem that they have. So just the perfect form of Vitality so far. Blokes have got more, but they need to step up.
I think it helps that, K-Dop is playing well. I feel as if sometimes, for Alpha specifically, when Vitality aren't playing well, K-Dop, it typically has those poor touches on the ball that we aren't used to seeing, and it has contributed to Vitality's troubles over the last few months. Not saying Alpha is without fault, not at all, but you have to play differently when your teammates aren't hitting the ball with solid contact consistent with K-Dop. Cole, you mentioned it, or I think Stumpy, whatever, one of you mentioned it.
We're the same person, apparently.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, subpar, we'll go with that.
Subpar.
His positioning has been his hallmark for a long time, but if he's not following it up with the fundamental mechanics or even just solid touches, Alpha's going to struggle for it. But right now, that's not the case, and Vitality look like the stronger team.
It's definitely a case of, when you talk about K-Dop, we mentioned the positioning earlier, that's how he poaches goals. But if he isn't being given those opportunity to poach the goals, he becomes very, very blunted because his shooting has not been up to scratch. In this series, he's looked pretty good. He's been in the position where he needs to be and has finished it consistently, but we're also only 2 games in. If Alpha and Fairy don't make those chances for him, suddenly their biggest firepower that relies on a couple of tap-ins, which is also completely fine, it just comes down to needing a bit more from his teammates. But Vitality, as they go 2-0 into this 3rd game, do look very strong, but Flame opening the scoring for Blokes.
It's a much better start for the Top Blokes. They had so many clean touches going around the pitch. In the last couple of games, these 50-50s were going Vitality's way, but this one, look at Flame's positioning, just reading K-Dop's mistouch, being there, having the confidence to take that chance and give Top Blokes the lead.
Then Archie too, dragging that ball a little bit. That final touch that slowed it down definitely helped in, preventing K-Dop from getting a solid clear on net. Now he pulls off again, but can't quite wrap himself around the ball. Archie's certainly trying to utilize any kind of mechanic he has in the book to get the edge over Vitality.
I think Archie's main play right now is trying to find those pockets of space, as Cole mentioned earlier, that Monkey Moon does so incredibly well. But Vitality are shutting him down. Off the backboard, they're launching so early onto him. Archie nearly tapping into his own net, but actually taking it away from the defender as well. So confidence from Archie, but Vitality definitely shutting him down as much as they can.
I mean, that's where Cassio comes into proceedings, right? If they are spending resources on making sure that Archie is closed down as quickly as possible, that gives space for Cassio to try and make those passes to Flame. And Flame is more than capable of being a striker when the time calls for it. In the first series against Guild, which was the closer one, he got 1 goal per game. So when he's involved, he is a really good finisher of the ball. It's how he actually rose to prominence a few seasons ago. So definite opportunities here for Top Blokes, and that's what we're seeing.
That's when Cassio's passing is really working. I always felt like Cassio's passing has been underrated. And, Flame, nice touch. Cassio will get there quickly. But it's all those little aspects for Top Blokes. They never seem to come together at the right time. But this championship run, that's been a little different, though they have had to stop Vitality on an extended push. They finally get a clear downfield. Archie can't get the read. Flame right there. And again, his positioning extremely aggressive, trying to push Vitality back.
Flame has been a man that we've spoken quite a lot about, just sort of behind the scenes as well, where he has to play this series so perfectly because Archie and Cassio, they get a lot of the limelight. They are the offensive guys. They do a lot of the attacking. They do the flashy plays that will show up on the subreddit and get hundreds of upvotes. Flame has to hold the back line and be so concrete in defense that if he lets one thing pass him and just lets it slip slightly or goes on for a double commit, he can get a lot of blame for that. It's a very tough position to play that 3rd man role. He does it excellently 99% of the time, but in this series, in this set, it has to be 100% of the time.
Well, it's been tougher for Vitality to find the net. Archie in a tough spot. Alpha's flick not strong enough, and Archie, again, grabbing the ball, getting by another Vitality attacker.
I mean, you say tough spot, but he just makes it look so easy. It was awkward for a second, and it is for Flame here, but next thing you know, Archie has dribbled it round the corner and got a really clean touch to completely get the ball away. But Vitality are still continuing to put on that pressure. It's decent defending, though, for top Blokes. There always seems to be a player in the way as the shot is being taken. Not too many clean opportunities for Vitality, which is a little bit different to the last couple of games.
I like Fairy trying to go for the mark by 8 wonder goal there. Couldn't quite manage it, instead just sort of floppily pinches it gently towards his own half. But a minute and a half left now.
Ooh.
Top Blokes, just 1 goal lead. Vitality were a lot stronger in the previous 2 games at this point, but Top Blokes hoping that one may well do it.
Yeah, I really like how Archie's looking. Here he comes again, but he's going to have to let it drop. But his challenges have been on point too, and it's forcing Vitality to respect it. Flame got punished hard, caught in midfield. Fairy Peak punishes.
The last time these two teams played, it was 3-0 to Vitality, and it ended with Flame pushing up as the third man in an overtime that Top Blokes had forced despite being 2 goals down in the third game. So maybe flashbacks there for Flame in that moment. Vitality will continue to punish that if it happens.
Did you just whip that one right out of your head?
I did.
Or did you write that one down? That was nice.
Listen, I don't have much of a memory, but sometimes weird things stick. And that was a weird thing that stuck, and that was almost a weird save from Alpha. K-Dop could finish it up. Archie and Flame combining and get the save. Fairy Peak then shoots, and there's Flame.
That's where
Archie.
Flame comes into his own, like every single time. Offensively, defensively, mainly. He looked great then.
Flame going to kick it up again. K-Dop able to get it clear, but this is a Top Blokes possession. Archie just got a little way up from the ball, and Flame is forced back to his own corner. May see the first overtime as regulation is coming to a close. It's been more of a fight in midfield for possession. Fairy Peak battling for possession back to K-Dop. K-Dop making one miss, but Top Blokes are ready. Here they go again to the orange half. Flame diving in front, has a shot, but it's wide. Fairy Peak plays it back out to the corner. Cassio forces 150. Can he get back onto the ball? He couldn't recover cleanly enough. Forces the 50, but K-Dop wins. K-Dop back around. Another challenge for Flame goes right back into Alpha. Archie gets a solid pop. Fairy Peak dives up off the backboard. Where's the shot? K-Dop takes it away. Off the wall, we got OT.
Things suddenly got really, really exciting in the last minute or so of that game. After being fairly slow and pedestrian, suddenly it came to life, and now we have this overtime.
But Vitality held like the entire time as well. If that went on for another 30 seconds, maybe Vitality slip, but now they've got a chance for some offense.
Yeah, Fairy Peak keeps searching for corners like that. It might be over for Top Blokes. They might find it there, but Archie takes it away on the save and flips it over the first Vitality attacker. Alpha can't get back to the ball. Flame cuts it off, and that's some breathing room for Top Blokes.
Archie has 527 points and no goals. Just to give you a hint of how much play he's having, the amount of saves he's had. He got the assist as well, just so involved for Top Blokes.
Flame kicking it back out to the side for Vitality. Really trying to stretch the offense as much as they can. Archie stays as close as he can, but finding the seam was K-Dop, and it's taken away. Alpha, another shot off the crossbar. Archie diving in front. Fairy Peak collecting the boost, sends another one forward. Taken up off the backboard. Cassio gets the read and beats Alpha to the ball, but it's not over. Another 50 and a second touch gets Archie out of a bad spot.
That's exactly what they needed then, because Top Blokes were under so much pressure. 10 more seconds they would have cracked. And Flame just launching himself at the ball time and time again. But what a pass in field!
They had to do so much defending there, did the Top Blokes. Last second saves were flying in, and then when you have the opportunity to pass or shoot, who better than Archie to make the right choice? Top Blokes were 1 goal away there from needing a best-of-7 reverse sweep. All of a sudden, they're right back in it.
Yeah, you're definitely thinking tactical timeout in that situation, but they just took over at the start of that overtime, and despite some really good effort from Vitality, I felt, to kind of squelch that offense that they had going. Fairy Peak was still prioritizing boost steals, trying to get Top Blokes on empty, but they never really could. All thanks to Archie. He did phenomenal in that game.
Archie got the most amount of touches on Top Blokes as well, but Vitality getting that sheer amount of pressure and making sure that every touch they had purpose, got them into overtime and got them the saves at the end of that game as well. But that pass down from Archie to Cassio, the vision that they have got, maybe Cassio calling that ball, going for the role reversal, where normally Cassio feeds that one into the chamber for Archie to fire home. But that was absolutely astonishing forethought by Archie to end that game as well. And you're right, Cole, now now it being 2-1 as opposed to 3-0, that is a huge weight off the mind of the Blokes.
They also did so well to recover after essentially giving Vitality a free goal. It's always the biggest question mark I have over these teams. You will make mistakes. When it happens, how do you recover? Do you give away 2 more goals and show a little bit of tilt? Or do you just get straight back to it, carry on playing your game, and still have the composure to pass in the overtime? And Top Blokes, clearly, they chose the correct path.
Composure feels like the ultimate test against Vitality, too. If you can somehow maintain that through...
Especially here.
We're talking, in a best of sets, it's going to be... You're definitely in for the marathon, and Top Blokes will have to channel that energy. Nice stop from Cassio. Love the aggression. Cassio turning back in on the rotation, causing another 50. Look, Vitality frozen on the back wall. They have to receive, and another shot comes off the back wall, and Archie, another one off the backboard. The Flame ends up flipping beneath it. Nobody's got boost left. Everyone turning tail and running. Vitality challenged by Flame, and they somehow prevent a quick Vitality counterattack.
I think Flame was nearly bumped in the midfield, and so he had to move quickly out of the way, and that completely got rid of any chance he had to attack. Because initially, that looks like he just jumped, flipped, and it was awkward. And Cassio, such a slow-rolling shot, and Top Blokes, they get away with it.
It was so gentle. Look at this. Very peak miss, and Cassio just strokes it delicately into the bottom corner. I'll tell you what as well, that is more frustrating than Vitality than had Cassio pinged it into the top right corner, because K-Dot will feel, if only I was a few feet further, I could have saved it, but not to me.
Better the shot be unsavable than be one where you're just questioning it for the next 10, 15 seconds. I could have maybe saved that.
I mean, we had Rams in an interview after they defeated Guild saying, yeah, the whole time I was comfortable, and they're not comfortable here, saying the whole time they were comfortable. I don't think he was comfortable when that shot was taken. That would have been a terrifying one. Thinking, Cassio, what have you done?
He also said that they should have won 6-0 versus Guild, and despite the fact it was very, very close to that, I don't believe him for a damn second.
K-Dot, almost found the double. And Archie will kick this one up again, really prioritizing control over everything else to try to give Top Blokes some space, and I think it's really worked to get them out of more than a couple of jams. It's not as if Vitality haven't been able to put on extended pushes on offense.
Oh, that was such a good touch. Cassio's arriving at the back post. It was that pass there. I absolutely loved it. He just took all the pace off the ball and arced it into the far corner. I don't think Vitality were expecting it as well. They really had to scramble to save that one.
Cassio's got so much time to get back to that. And while he beats K-Dot to the ball, he ends up getting demoed, and K-Dot just trying to give some sort of space. He'll actually take it himself, and Fairy Peak cut off immediately by Cassio, falling back on it. Fairy Peak trying to create havoc against Flame. But again, every clear is solid from Top Blokes.
And they're positioning so well that the avenues that Vitality are trying to poke down the lines of Top Blokes are already filled by a player. Cassio, I think, pre-jumped Fairy Peak's clear earlier on and meant that it didn't even get past the halfway line, and he was up well in time.
Yeah, Vitality are having to force stranger and stranger angles just to get the ball to each other. They're knocking the ball backwards or into their own corner, which is great to keep possession, but it's not sending them any further forwards. And as for Top Blokes, when they do come forwards, they seem to have that incisive pass in them, but that's better from Vitality.
Yeah, that one gives a little bit of space. Cassio's in a tough spot with no boost, but they somehow get out of that, and Archie can make the next save. Flame quickly off the sidewall. Archie downfield for him. That's going to be a pop-up. Cassio's in position, but he has to wait for Alpha, and puts another screamer off the backboard. Oh, Flame! Does it go in? It does! Flame gets the change-up, and it's 2-0 Top Blokes.
Shockingly slower than the first goal as well, which I didn't think could happen. That, again, is so tantalizingly close for poor old K-Dom, who just didn't quite know. Okay, first one, I didn't get it. I didn't get there in time. But the second one, I'm sure I will. And he has to just backflip beneath it and resign himself to his fate.
It's because of their interviews. They're not going to be mean to each other. Smashing the ball home is not very nice. Giving your opponents a chance. That's what this match is all about.
That's the recipe for success, for sure.
Absolutely.
But what a response for Top Blokes. After that, it was 4-2 at the end of the game, but Vitality had maintained that 4-1 lead for a little while, a couple games ago. But you couldn't ask for a better response right now, because we're looking like it's going to be a tied set. Archie pops up over one. Archie can't find the double, and Cassio's forced to turn around. Quick transition, hard shot on net, taken away by Flame.
Much better third man positioning there from Flame. It looked like Top Blokes were looking for the third, and he didn't go fishing to try and force it. He stayed back because he knows how devastating Vitality can be on the counter-attack. They still might be, but there's Cassio seeing that one away. Fairy Peak comes in with the double. Wow, Fairy Peak, that is something special.
Oh, good lord. Fairy Peak managing to hit that off the right wall. Awkwardly to get it around that final defender, because Archie was going to save it if he shot straight away, and then double tapping it in. Deliberate or not, if he just meant to get it on that side wall and not even go for the shot, that is a great play regardless, and being rewarded with the goal from it is earned.
He kept boosting. I think, you know, you keep boosting that situation, you're hoping that you get a touch onto the ball. You might not be able to line it up. You might be able to specifically read it, but you certainly know you want to go to the left, put it on target, and it's saved by Flame.
And you have again Flame being called in at the back.
Been able to answer the call, too. With less than 30 seconds left, Vitality have to keep this push alive somehow, but Archie gets them out again. Oh!
God, that was Archie just being so scary down that left wing on his approach, because he made sure that anybody who was challenging him was going to just be going along for a ride with the ball. They couldn't quite get their way ahead of it, and Blokes now leading with just 5 seconds left.
Another touch here downfield for K-Dop. Touch only for Alpha. On the side wall, does he have this one? It's not grabbed by Flame. It just comes down the whole way, and Top Blokes prevent Vitality from tying.
K-Dop, I think it was, who went up. He could have had it. He didn't believe in both Top Blokes players missing, didn't gamble on that likelihood. So as soon as they do, he's already in the air and has no chance to force an unlikely overtime. Over the course of the game, though, so well played to Top Blokes. Vitality rallied towards the end of it, but I'd say in the first 75% of that, that's probably the best that we've seen Top Blokes playing today so far.
Oh, that shot from Casio. These shots from Top Blokes aren't going to wow you. Flames with the changeup. K-Dop, unfortunate, couldn't make the save. But Vitality got forced into this situation again where they couldn't generate any offense despite having some extended stays on the blue half, despite getting some key boost steals. Archie, I keep saying his name because he's the guy getting the clear every time, whether he has 0, 25, or 100 boost. Archie has been consistent at keeping Top Blokes in this match.
Yeah, he's been the man that we question marked at the start. Him and K-Dop, their teams respectively, they are the biggest game changers on there, and Archie has, by every single metric, stepped up to the plate, and he is making sure that they are going to be going through to the Grand Finals versus BDS. And he has just looked spectacular. He's being supported by Casio and Flame in their respective roles as well. Top Blokes looking very, very scary and not down and out, which they could well have been very early on in this series.
Already a shot on net from Casio. This team looks wholly different from game number 1. It started out with a lot of belief in Vitality's championship ability. They had an outpouring of offense after that first game. But since then, they've quieted, and it's been tough to keep possession of the ball. Here's another shot. Fairy Peak diving for the stop.
I mean, Archie right now is looking like a one-man counter-attack machine. Vitality come forward with such numbers, and they force these chances, but all it takes is one Top Blokes clearance, and Archie to have a little bit of time to play with the ball, and just look at how easily he gets away, although that time he was tackled well by Fairy Peak, but all Fairy Peak can do is touch it towards his opponent, and then there is Archie again with another dribble, a boost steal, and Top Blokes are going to carry on going.
Casio, not enough boost to chase it, probably too fast anyway. But it's Top Blokes' possession still. Flame across the backboard will be taken away. Vitality have handled things on defense well enough. They really need some space to breathe in the orange half. Otherwise, this is going to keep happening. Archie gets one. He's got no boost left. Has to let it drop.
That was such an aggressive turn from Archie as well. Flame hadn't even had control of the ball, and Archie turns around on the right wall, and it led to a really terrifying shot from him, just whipped in from the side. Archie is moving with so much confidence, and his teammates are supporting it.
Cool. Another good clear from Alpha, though. Vitality, for all of their issues trying to get out in the first 2 minutes, they've handled Top Blokes well. Fairy Peak gonna opt for that boost steal, knowing he can't beat Flame to the ball. He's got two teammates in support, but already struggling to get that clear. Here's Archie again. Can't force a solid 50, but Flame is there again.
I'm just waiting for that perfect pass between one of these players. Everyone is happy to play in front of the ball right now. It's why we're seeing such an expansive game of Rocket League. The passes are flying in. Everybody is on the same wavelength. Just seeing who it works out for first. This could be it. Fairy Peak to the backboard. Archie sends it wide. Alpha. It's Vitality looking more lightly right now, but Top Blokes are defending well as well.
Off the back wall, and Casio diving in front for the stop. He's got a breakaway opportunity. Flame on the wing, but he's got little boost to get that ball downfield and has to give it up to Alpha.
That's so close on the flip reset. That's unfortunate. It doesn't quite get it. And the possession falls straight back to Vitality, who have tried to get a couple of slow roll chances themselves. That's a great bump in net from K-Dot. But look at Flame return. As soon as Archie gave him the call that there was somebody attacking him in the net, Flame returns, make sure their backline is solid.
One thing I would say, though, is that I do want to see these players going solo a little bit more. There's all these lovely passes coming in, 45-degree angles to a player that's already on the sideboard, but they're being read. I mean, that one's starting to work, but you can see how many players Top Blokes have back waiting for that pass, and it's the same when Top Blokes come forward. Vitality are expecting it as well. So just take a touch, go for an air dribble, go for a 50-50. That's more like it from K-Dom. Let's see if it works.
I think the tough part for Top Blokes in that respect, that's a nice save. Flame's got no boost, but he can make the 50 happen. Pass over to Fairy Peak? No, it's going to be Alpha. Has the read off the corner. It comes for free for K-Dom, and Vitality punish Top Blokes again. They have the lead.
He 100% meant that. Watch this from Alpha. Watch him pull out. He absolutely faked that, knowing that K-Dop was there. K-Dop was waiting for it. That is how you break Top Blokes down. A little bit of unpredictability.
The best part of that as well is the Top Blokes had no boost at all. Vitality was so sure of that Alpha just ekes out that final little bit from the defender and knows that anything dominant is going to go in the net, and Fairy Peak doubling up instantly.
It's just the 1v1 prowess from Fairy Peak. It's easy. You got Flame in a 1v1. That touch, he made up for that. He's like, I'm going to give you this hard and fast, but he puts that a little bit on Flame's bumper. And that could be a clear, but he got on the right side of it, prevented any sort of clear from happening. So Fairy Peak making up for some lost ground and picking up a second goal.
I mean, it doesn't matter for Fairy Peak whether he's using the Fennec or the Batmobile or the Octane. His 50-50 game is always so strong. And now it seems that Vitality have figured it out. Solo plays are the way to go in this game. And you know who comes alive then, Jorby? Alpha 54. He is going to be so excited for the remaining 70 seconds in this one.
It's slowly maybe start turning into Archie versus Alpha, but Vitality have certainly employed a great team effort to break through this Top Blokes line. There's still some time left for Top Blokes. See if they can keep the push up. Archie plays it close. Cassio trying to force it through, and it's not going to happen. Vitality keeping that ball nice and tidy. Alpha flick over one, and Archie will be able to handle it.
I love how close they're keeping the ball to their chest as well. Not having any awkward chances of the ball to pinch too awry, or at least trying to send it out to strange places. Alpha there's just going to catch it and then follow up. Cassio does get the possession, but he couldn't go too far with it in that one movement, and just a couple of seconds being burned off the clock each time.
Oh, they're scrambling to get back to the ball, and instead, Archie just gets demoed. K-Dop was looking for heads to hunt, and that's going to be... Nice coverage by Archie to pick up the save.
Yeah, it probably won't mean too much unless they can score from this counter-attack. Maybe I'll want to touch there from Fairy Peak. But it was a lovely save from Archie. I was going to say as well that one thing that's impressed me a lot in this game from Vitality, as well as the solo plays that led to the goals, were... nice one at the end there. Was the game management that they showed. They went 2 goals up. There was no winner's tilt. They didn't start to panic and think, we actually might win this one. They just continued playing their game, gave each other space, which is something I've been drumming on about since the start of this series. And Top Blokes, they had nowhere to turn.
So where does it turn for Top Blokes? And I believe they did just call a tactical timeout, so we're going to take an extra minute. You know, this first set, it's going to be long. You have to play the second set, and that one might go 6 or 7 as well. So you definitely take the chance that you can for some breaks. I think match point here is the perfect time for Top Blokes.
It's one of those opportunities to just reset how you're thinking as well, where a lot of the time you're going to get so invested in that individual game that maybe, like you said, Jorby, you're not thinking about the big picture of pacing yourself, making sure that you're not expending everything in the first series, because at minimum, you're playing 2 best-of-7s here against one of the best teams in Europe, and same goes for Vitality, ultimately. This is a semi-final matchup. So it's going to be on Rams to center them again, get them into that mindset, and get them back to a point where previously they were 2-0 down in this series. They brought it back to 2-2. Vitality have only pulled ahead by 1. It's not a big issue whatsoever, but Vitality's confidence now is going to be peaking, and they're going to be thinking ahead to, okay, we just need 1 more, win this series, then we go to the set.
Yeah, I feel like Vitality won the tactical battle in that particular game. They realized the way the match was looking and changed faster than Top Blokes did.
Lost their fans.
Yeah, oh no, that's worrying. Maybe the pressure was getting to them. Maybe K-Dot was saying, look, I can't handle this. There's too much pressure. Can you guys go away? I'm not used to playing in front of a crowd. But no, what I was going to say was that I was happy to see how calm Top Blokes appeared to be. They weren't panicking too much just yet, Stumpy, which is exactly what you wanted to see. I see this one going to 7. I think that Top Blokes are going to have the momentum. It's just going to swing back and then back again. What do you guys reckon?
I mean, yesterday we had a 6-game series, a 7-game series, and a 6-game series. So they were too short of the maximum they could have had over in NRG versus G2. I think this will be 7-7-7. This is the one matchup that I can really see
Triple
being
sevens.
all 3. This will be 7-7-7. It will be... I'll
Go
get
on.
there.
Go on.
22 matches.
You did it. Well done,
Oh,
man.
all right.
Failed
Well
it,
done,
down in
Stumpy. Well done.
Don't tell him, Joby. You'll make him sad.
Please
Yeah,
don't.
no, it's okay. Stumpy, you did a great job. So we're going to head down to Neo Tokyo to get game 6 of the first set underway. I don't know, man. You know me. I'm a Rocket League fan at heart. I love this game.
Yeah.
I love seeing things go down to the wire. So I'm always going to ask for a game 7. So, Top Blokes, let's make it happen. Game 7.
That's very polite of you. That was as polite as those pre-game interviews of, come on, guys, let's have a nice game 7 so no one gets hit too hard.
I think that...
Gotta match that energy.
Yeah, I think the way they're going to do it as well is they're just going to mix up their approach a little bit more. Archie seemed to stop going for the solo play so much in that last game for some reason. There are a lot more passes to him, but fewer involvements of him just dribbling away. That's more like it, though. Look at him following up there from Flames Touch and Casio. All of them involved, all playing on the front foot, which is what they need to do. Casio shoots again, but it's saved.
And Vitality diving end to end to try to get that ball out. But again, Vitality's defense, we've talked about their prowess several times already, but in moments like that, it really shows. When you're being stretched, the challenges are right in front of the box. The balls are in awkward angles for you to get to. You're almost being bumped off. The risk of you being bumped by a teammate when they're screening across on the rotation is so high. The fact that Vitality come away more times clean than not, just it speaks to their prowess on defense. That one off the backboard. And Fairy Peak delivers the first blow to top.
What a smart finish that is from Fairy Peak as well. There is so little of the goal to aim for. Look at Flame and Casio. Fair play to them. They closed it down so quickly. But Fairy Peak just has that presence of mind that very few players have, and he just put it in the perfect place.
That was a 3-man passing play made of dreams. It went from K-Dop to then just cheekily hit up by Alpha, who is not out of position even slightly because he didn't even jump for it. He just drove to the right position. And then Fairy Peak, like you say, Cole, just a sniper, honing his sights and sending it top corner. I love that play from Vitality.
Oh, nice little bump in midfield. Earlier, Archie grabbed the touch from K-Dop with expert precision to catch it and then take it out to the corner. I believe, Stumpy, you were saying that he's much like Monkey Moon statistically. Every time he's having to carry a ball on his own backboard, he looks exactly like Monkey Moon. His control has been pristine today.
Yeah, I said that they were close sort of in rating. That's the rating that goes across every single RLCS X game we've had so far. Monkey Moon is at 1.185 rating. Archie is at 1.183. Ooh. He is just so tight behind him, and that's bearing in mind the finish that Top Blokes have had to the season and the pitfalls that they've struggled through. Archie has remained an astonishing player at every single turn, but Vitality with an open net are gonna miss that one.
I mean, it was a decent block from Flame, to be fair. He got himself in the way, made the shot much more difficult, and this time the sniping wasn't quite as accurate as Fairy Peak's earlier.
I don't know if he would have got it, though, because Flame wasn't able to stop his momentum at all. I feel like he would have tipped that ball, and it just would have fell back into the net. Casio covers up on this one. Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't have been Flame in that position, for sure.
No, I mean, it's a tough job for Flame in this entire series. You're too far back, and everyone shouts at you for being too defensive. You venture too far forward, and there's me calling you out for being too aggressive as a third man. And then, even when both of your teammates are back defending with you, this is what Vitality can do.
Alpha's play on every single touch of that ball. If that results in a goal, that is top plays. Gibbs, get it in your document. You know that one's down. But for that to then be a pass with Fairy Peak's positioning to send it home so we get to watch it again, thank you. We appreciate it.
Top Blokes in danger of losing this first set now, too. I feel like they were just starting to find their stride, pulling that tactical timeout, give themselves a little more breathing room.
Yeah.
they just haven't been able to, put the pressure on Vitality at all this game.
I mean, that is old school Vitality. That is what they always used to do, even from back in K-Dop's Dignitas days. They'd let you think you were going to take it. You'd have a couple of games against them in a best of 5. Somehow they'd still find a way to win. This is the form of Vitality that somehow finds a way to win. So whatever Top Blokes are throwing at them, Vitality are just matching it and then coming at them relentlessly time and time again.
We'll see if Top Blokes can create an opening. That's as much leeway as they've had on the opponent's backboard, or back wall, excuse me. And then Cassio gets bumped out of the way. Archie cleaning up. Cassio in the lane, but K-Dop gets a long clear downfield. Still Top Blokes are positioned for a quick transition. Archie tries to catch, gets too far over the ball. It works out. Archie puts the shot, but yeah, there's Alpha 54 to take away the shot. Flame, that's just to buy some time for Cassio to get back.
That's such a disappointingly slow shot after an amazing dribble over the defender as well. Shame that didn't go in, but Blokes still have 1 minute to try and get 2 goals back. Otherwise, Vitality take this first series.
Oh, Archie lets it go for Cassio, and the shot's blocked by Alpha. Another shot at very peak. He doesn't even need to save it. Archie got in the way, flipping up, gets another tap on it. Can't get the dunk. Cassio having to cover the gap quickly. They need a little bit time to go after this goal. But Flame hits it off the post, and there's no chance for a goal for Top Blokes. Archie misses the ball. It's open for K-Dop, off the post and in. Vitality seal this game.
Okay, K-Dop, what was this? Maybe K-Dop would be happy if we started the replay here. Let's ignore everything that happened before. Ignore the fact that he didn't get the open goal in. One way or another, he scored. That's fine. Before this series started, we heard from Flame, and he was saying that Vitality have some of the best goal line defense in EU. That is the perfect example. They throw bodies in front of the ball, even if they're boost-starved, even if all 3 of them are trapped on their own goal line with nothing in their tank. Somehow they manage to get in front of it and get it away and then counter.
I'd still expect a much better shot from Top Blokes to come out that can actually challenge them if it was a bit more on target. But Vitality holding that down and escaping with a goal at the end to shut out the series is sublime work.
Vitality take the first set from Top Blokes. One more best of 7 to confirm a spot in the grand finals against Team BDS. But I have a feeling another long best of 7 is in store for us. I don't think Top Blokes have given us everything that they've shown us so far.
I don't think they have either. I think we have a lot more to come from both of these teams. Vitality, despite them winning, still had a couple of times when they looked utterly overwhelmed and Top Blokes ran riot with them. Top Blokes had the exact same thing, but just a little bit more often, leading Vitality to take the win in that game. The first series, though, is very even to what I think we all thought. It would be back and forth, and then one team escapes just bloodied and bruised and finally can get the win. I'm impressed with everybody on that pitch, and the fact that there's still at least one more series to come makes me a very, very happy person.
Well, we have that set coming up for you after the break. Get up, take a bathroom break, grab a snack out of your fridge, or if you don't have a snack in your fridge, grab it out of your cabinet. I don't care where you have your snack. Just get it so I don't see you complaining that you're hungry in Twitch chat, okay? We're going to a quick break. We'll have the second set afterwards.